I live in Boise, and I'm here on behalf of myself. So I work in fighting online credit card fraud, and my kid was adopted. So she, she's amazing. She receives Medicare, and she does receive puberty blockers. I think it's really important that folks understand what impacts of these bills are like for folks like me and my child, my family, because the experience, the feeling is that, it's this constant interruption of, how is life going to go for us? Do we need to move? Do I need to pick up my whole life? Do I need to throw away, the first time home buyer savings that I might have if I could stay here for 7 years? There's quite a few impacts. Puberty blockers are fantastic because it just puts a pause. For my kid, she's obviously, clearly a girl. She's amazing. She wants to be a doctor someday. And, for her, this is one of her first homes where she can feel like she can be herself. Being removed from her home, she knows exactly what it feels like to be unsafe, to have folks that are controlling and pressuring, who make her feel that she can't be herself. So now that she's in a home where she can express herself and, let folks know what matters to her, now we have these frequent bills that, continue to just shake our lives and say, maybe not. So she's faced all of this abuse. She's healing. And then there is this, I know I'm repeating myself, but this constant shaking of our lives. And I just need folks to know that, like we've heard earlier, trans kids already face so much unfair treatment. My kid has already had a Title IX investigation this year for sexual harassment based on her old name. She has described junior high as the most exciting, wonderful new thing in her life, and then she has to deal with that. And then she has to deal with these bills that are not really put forth in good faith, but rather just kind of a disgusting expression of using people as political
Mr.
pawns.
Chairman.
Excuse me?
We don't want to impugn the motives of these bills are done in good faith by the sponsors. We just can't say stuff about the sponsors like that.
Oh, I feel disgusted by it.
Mr. Loper, that is a proper objection, and you talk about your feelings is great, but to impugn the motives of somebody saying they're bringing this for a bad reason is improper.
Understood, Mr. Chairman. I find it very convenient that a largely cisgender body is able to use procedure to, deny the experience of people who deal with the
Mr. Speaker, I
impacts.
object, and I think his time's up.
Your time is up. Anyone have questions? Thank you for testifying.
I do have a question, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Representative Allgood.
Yes, sir. Just as a understanding practical matter, when your daughter received medication, puberty blockers or whatever it was that process just going to the family doctor prescribing that, and then Medicaid paying the bill? Is that as simple as that work, or was it more complicated than that?
It was more complicated than that. First, there's evidence of social transition. There is evidence in her early years of drawing herself as a girl, right? So we were picked as the family for her because we had experience with being supportive and affirming of folks that are not gender, that are gender nonconforming. Eventually, we explored options. What can we do when puberty comes around? What's a non-invasive situation? And her doctors recommended that we could do puberty blockers because it's very easy to stop, and it doesn't really disrupt anything. It's a simple pause on puberty, and what I hear from their doctors is that they do care, right? The idea that we're here to hurt or mutilate bodies is extremely disingenuous. When the doctor says, I know that your kid is asking, when can I get surgery? And we tell her, Well, that's a very serious thing, right? You're going to be 18, and then we can talk about it. But the doctor expresses, we don't advise that for kids because there are serious consequences if you go too hard too soon in that direction. It doesn't happen very much. And it's because doctors care. They want trans kids to have a happy life, to instead of having to face significant risk of suicide, to be able to be themselves and relax and, learn how to do violin and piano and tennis, and not have to worry about, are more kids going to harass me because I'm going to start, getting hair on my chin? Because the Idaho legislature has forced options away from my child.
Thank you for your testimony.
Wow. I'm going to let you guys sit with that one. Maybe we'll bring it up when this bill hits the floor, and we'll talk about it then. Thank you so much for joining us today. IdahoSignal.com is where you can donate to the show, send us a message, keep us on the air, and end like that. All right, folks. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
This bill, I think, it puts a stake in the ground that says we have a sovereign right to protect what's ours.